Ambitious is the word to describe today's video. We're back talking Wrexham AFC transfer rumours, and we have got a big one today. It could be a massive statement signing from Wrexham. We're going to be talking about the possibility of a Premier League forward making the switch down to the Championship for Wrexham Football Club, what this would mean for Wrexham going forward, what this would mean for our promotion chances this season in the Championship, and we're also going to be taking a look at a back-to-back-to-back promotion winner that has left the club just a few hours ago, and what this means for Phil Parkinson going forward, because that creates a whole different problem with his departure. It means we have to recruit heavily more in a different area of the pitch, which I'm sure he didn't have planned, but the departure of him now leaves us with just 2 players in this position going into a gruelling 46 games of the Championship season. So we've got 2 bits of news to be talking about in today's video, but before we get talking about it, please make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 29,000 subscribers. Any new subscriptions are massively appreciated. We can see the finishing line. I think we're 30 away from hitting 29,000 subscribers, so if you're watching this video and you look down below and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. This is your place for all the best Wrexham AFC content on YouTube, consistent videos on transfer news, general club news. This is the place that it's covered in. So let's get talking first on the big potential signing at Wrexham. Now, an ambitious piece of news did break on social media yesterday from the Daily Mail sports column, claiming that we're set to make a swoop for Leeds United forward Lukas Nmecha as we try and land a striker to boost our chances of promotion to the Premier League and boost our chances of just being competitive with the likes of West Ham United, with Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have had a really good transfer window. Wrexham are playing catch up on those, but if it means that we're playing catch up this late on to sign a player of Lukas Nmecha's quality, then so be it. I'm all for it, because this would be a landmark signing for Wrexham. Now, if you are looking a bit about Lukas Nmecha, now Nmecha joined Leeds United last season following their promotion to the Premier League. He joined Leeds on a free transfer from Wolfsburg over in Germany. He linked up with Daniel Farke on a free transfer, like I've just said, which was an incredible bit of business. It went down as a really solid signing last season, as he registered 10 goals and assists in 37 games in all competitions, which for a free agent isn't a bad return at all. 7 of those goals and assists coming in the Premier League, so he's got a good eye for goal, and we'll get talking on that later on in terms of his conversion rate. But I think looking at the overall opinions from Leeds United fans, I think in a signing like this and in a bit of a transfer rumour, you want to get the opinion of the fans of the club that he's currently playing for. Now, if we are looking at what they do have to say on social media, some want him to stay purely because of his quality in the final third, his goal scoring, his goals and assists that he has provided for the likes of Calvert-Lewin, and potentially this season linking up with Harry Wilson, who is an incredible playmaker. The potential for Nmecha to potentially hit double digits is well on the cards, so they don't really want to let him go for that reason. And a lot of Leeds fans are looking at this from a completely different perspective, in the fact that we signed him on a free transfer. Yes, he's probably going to be on a good wage. Could we look to loan him out or sell him out to Wrexham this season for a pure profit? Whatever they sell him for, it would be a profit. Some fans are saying because he's in the final year of his contract and it's still up in limbo whether he will sign a contract extension, this would be the time to cash in when his stocks are high after a good goal scoring season, a good season overall for Leeds United. And they said obviously that pure profit they were hoping for could be £5 million, which could make sense for Leeds in terms of reinvesting that back into the squad. But for Wrexham's point of view, I think spending £5 million on a 27-year-old striker who has scored 7 goals in the Premier League last season would be an excellent bit of business. But I think looking on the overall situation and looking on factors that, you know, are broader than Nmecha coming to Wrexham, the departure of Joel Perreault, the Leeds United striker, to West Ham United, that was announced a couple of days ago, would leave Leeds with 2 strikers going into the Premier League season, Noah Okafor and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which is not great at all for a club that has ambitions of going one step further this season in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong, they've got 2 very good options there, but that is quite thin on the attacking front for them going forward. So despite them potentially using that funding towards those forwards that they could potentially sign in the transfer market, I think the logistics behind bringing in another striker or 2 this close to the start of the Premier League season, and with just over 2 weeks left of the summer transfer window, it could prove to be a bit difficult for Leeds United. So whether they would sell Nmecha and Joel Perreault is another question. In my opinion, I don't think they will. I think this is a very ambitious move from Wrexham. I'm interested in becoming a millionaire. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can all show our interest in different players. I think this one would be one step too far for Wrexham. I think this would be out of our realms of possibility in terms of signing a Premier League striker, but we've learned from the past couple of seasons to expect the unexpected at this wonderful football club. So what could Lukas Nmecha bring to this Wrexham front line? Now I think it's definitely interesting looking at the type of player he is and the style of play that he has adopted in that Leeds United front line. Now as a striker, Nmecha's not a typical target man, a typical hold-up player, a poacher in the box. He falls in between kind of those two roles. Now his movement up front to create attacking space for the other striker that he's playing with, or the potential wingers, attacking midfielders, is said to be one of his main attributes. Now if we are looking at this last season in the Premier League, it was so handy at Leeds United playing with a second striker. He was used to playing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top, which is why I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin had that revival season at Leeds. I think he scored 14 goals in the Prem, Nmecha scored 6. They worked well off each other, and Lukas Nmecha really does thrive when he's playing alongside a second striker. Now if he was to sign in this Wrexham setup, it would raise the questions, because as we know, we only adopt that one striker up front, whether it's Sam Smith, whether it's Kiefer Moore. Wrexham is so adamant on only playing one forward with those two central attacking midfielders sitting behind him. So whether that would impact his potential goal scoring ability, his performances in a Wrexham shirt, I think the slight comparison we can make to that is Nathan Broadhead signing from Ipswich Town, having a really good stint at Ipswich when playing on the wing, coming into Wrexham playing central attacking midfielder. His creativity's been a bit limited and we've not seen the best version of him. So could I see a potential story happening again for Lukas Nmecha in a Wrexham shirt? I think there's a possibility, but when you're that good playing in the Premier League, I don't think you'll lose that touch of scoring goals in a league below, which is a completely different standard, a lower standard. So I think looking on his abilities up front, it would benefit though the likes of Josh Windass and Nathan Broadhead in terms of him making those good movements up front, creating those space for those two central attacking midfielders. It would be a key attribute to bring down to the Championship at this level. And yeah, I think there's no hiding the fact that if Nmecha was to come to Wrexham, it would be interesting to see how he would do and operate in a different role, because he would be operating. Wrexham suddenly wouldn't go to a front two and completely tweak the whole team's formation and tactics. So he's so used to playing in that front two at Leeds United, and I think that was the general story of his time at Wolfsburg. So I think if you're looking at his other attributes as well, he's also used to moving off the second striker, making those attacking runs behind the second balls, making those runs between the lines, attacking the space. So he's one of those strikers that is going to chase down the ball. He's one of those strikers that's just going to be busy up front and, you know, creating those chances for others, making the space for others. So I think it would be interesting in terms of that sense with his movement on and off the ball. But you're looking at him, 6'1", he's a bit broad, he's a bit stocky, and I do think given his physical presence, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Phil Parkinson was to look at this signing and think, this is perfect. This is perfect for what I like to play in this forward line at Wrexham. Sam Smith, Kiefer Moore, they do the dirty work up front. They're used as those hold-up strikers in the forward line, and his game would be built off doing the dirty work, which is completely not what he's used to at Leeds United. So there is pros and cons of this potential signing, and I think the cons definitely do outweigh the pros, because he's coming down a division and I think he would be playing a completely different role. But on the other hand, if you're looking at a £5 million price tag, this would be one of the best bits of business across the whole of the EFL this summer transfer window. And if we are looking at the most important thing, it's his conversion rate in front of goal. He has got a really good finishing rate as well, considering how many shots he did have in the Premier League last year. From 16 shots on target, he scored 6 of those, which again is not a bad return at all. He's had limited chances in front of goal, and when he has had those chances, I'd say he's more than taken them, and that is in the most competitive league of men's football across the world. He would be a goal machine in the Championship. If you get that extra yard of space, which you would get in the Championship opposed to the Premier League, Nmecha would easily score double digits in this Wrexham team. We would even look as far as saying potentially 15 plus. So I think overall it would be an incredible signing for Wrexham. It would be such a statement to the rest of the Championship, but at this moment in time, if I was to give my honest opinion, it's not going to happen. We're not going to see Lukas Nmecha come to Wrexham, but there is some kind of truth behind this, because apparently a few people have said now that the 49ers have taken over Leeds, the Daily Mail Sport and them have a really good sort of connection in between getting transfer rumours. So there might be a slight bit of truth, but again, any club can show any interest in any player. It doesn't mean that the transfer is going to happen. So it looks as if a deal is going to be hard to complete this late on in the transfer window. If I was to say the percentage of this potentially happening, Lukas Nmecha to Wrexham, at this moment in time, I'd give it 5 to 10%. And talking on a departure after 3.5 years at the club, 3 promotions, a number of incredible performances down that right-hand side, hundreds of crosses, Ryan Barnett has departed to newly promoted League One side MK Dons on a season-long loan, which I think he might be in the final year of his contract. It looks to be the last time that we'll see Ryan Barnett up here in North Wales, but it was a move that I think was inevitable given the pre-season and last season in the Championship. He was third in the pecking order. Kabore was first, Longman second, Barnett was third, and I'm really glad that Barney has got a move where he'll be playing week in, week out in a competitive division, which he's proved himself before. He's proved that he can be a good asset down that right-hand side in League One, and now's his time to show it to Phil Parkinson. If he has a good season, there's a chance that Wrexham look to extend his contract, but for Barney, it's about enjoying his football, playing as much as he can. It's a great opportunity, but it does raise the question, what is going to happen for the rest of the transfer window down that right-hand side? Wrexham are left with Danny Imre and Ryan Longman down the right-hand side. It does make you question what is going to happen, because yes, Imre, incredible player. We've had an incredible debut off him against Cardiff City. Ryan Longman, yeah, he's a good asset for this division. He's an okay asset, but you can't be going into 46 games, like I said at the start of the video, a gruelling 46 games with just two options at wing back. If Imre gets injured, we're stuck with Ryan Longman down that right hand side, and yes, I do think Longman is a good player, but when you're looking at getting promoted to the Premier League, competing with West Ham, Wolves, Burnley, etc., you want to be having good options all across the pitch, and I think there is some weaknesses in both wing back roles. So yeah, I think we have moves to do late on in the transfer window in that wing back role, I'd say on either side, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see what tricks Phil Parkinson has up his sleeve. So that is it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, make sure to get down there as well and click the red subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Let's hit 29 first and let's go for a big milestone of 30,000. So like I said, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in another video. Take care guys, up the Championship Reds.